Today on Midlife Conversations, I've got one of my friends, Tamara Renee, who I had to have on the show because we're talking about fascia therapy and a method behind that. And before you jump off and you're like, I don't know what that is this something I should listen to? If you are aging, which we all are, you want to hear this today because Tamara is transforming how we age, how we feel when we age, not just how we look, but how we feel as we age. Now, I met Tamara Renee years ago. She's always been a dedicated advocate for natural health and beauty. She has over 30 years of experience in this. If you're watching this on video, you're not going to believe your eyes because she's 61 and she just, you would not guess that she's 61. And when I met her 2 decades ago, I remember when I met you, Tamara, you were in your early 40s. And I remember being shocked that you were in your early 40s then. You are literally aging in reverse. You are aging in reverse. And she is one of the first people that had taught me about natural nutrition years ago. She's was always cutting edge with that. But when I reconnected with her not too long ago, what was really fascinating to me was how well she has not just aged herself, but has helped clients age. And she really attributes this to not just her whole lifestyle, but this whole technology that she's gotten into with fascia. So I experienced a few treatments myself in her office, but she also does a lot of this virtually. And I've continued to dig and learn and experiment from what I'm getting from her on how this affects how we age. So thank you so much for being here today, Tamara.
Oh my gosh, Nat. Thank you, dear.
So let's back up a minute. What the heck is fascia? And how did you discover getting into this? How did this start?
It's so funny. Most people don't know what fascia is because it was only logged in our medical journals in 2006. So that's considered a newbie, right?
Yeah.
Fascia is our connective tissue system. And the number one thing I want the audience to get today is because it's a continuous system, it has great impact on how
Mhm.
we move and look. And it gives us some great heads up when we don't like how our body is getting stiffer, creating immobility or pain, constant pain, or an area of our body that's starting to change aesthetically
Mhm.
that we don't like. Those are little signals to us to actually learn more about our connective tissue system, fascia, and how can restore that so that not only are we actually having great mobility in our body, but we're also getting the collagen production to the top layers of our skin when our fascia is healthy. Because fascia, when it's unhealthy, will have like what we call it adhesions under the skin. So it's like having a little piece of scar tissue that we might not visually be able to see, but it's underneath our skin and it's creating more of an issue now with like mobility, causing more pain, restriction of movement, and also weird things like cellulite,
Mhm.
bound areas, thick areas, cankles, things like that that we can't really identify. Like, why is this happening? Where
Mm.
is this going south on my body? And fascia, when we're working somewhere in our connective tissue, it could be, I don't know, at our ankle, it can still help with mobility of our shoulders because the system weaves in and out of every single organ, wraps around every single tissue, muscle fibers, and then bounds muscle fibers together. So it's actually what really gives our muscles the
Mhm.
shape and the size, which is really good to think about because most of the time when we've been in the past, people would say you cannot spot trim,
Right.
correct?
Yeah, that's what people would say.
That's not true because fascia wraps around every single muscle fiber. You can actually work in that area, treating your fascia more to decrease the size in that area.
Mm.
Now, every time we're making our body more beautiful, we're actually increasing the health of our circulation, our mobility, and our skin. So that magnitude of help, like the things that I love to really focus in my practice are things that really give us the magnitude to change how we're experiencing life and how we're looking as we age, right? The more impact, the more will be invested because it's like anything, you still have to do work.
Yeah.
There's still the action steps that need to be taken.
Now, most people fully understand that their nutrition and their activity level needs to change to age well. So they grasp that, or assuming if you're listening, you grasp that. How does this create another layer, and where does this fall into the important spectrum? And why have we ignored it for so long?
Well, I think we ignored it because we didn't know it. Surgeons have been cutting through this system for years and never having a name for it, right?
Mhm.
So when it was logged at 2006, it was logged as a stability and suspension system, meaning it creates all the stability in how we stand, and it has to have the flexibility for when we move and when we walk and when we go and reach and grab and have all of our movement in the day, right? But it
Mhm.
also creates more stability. And so many times many areas of our body, it's spread out like hair fibers.
Okay.
And then there's areas of our body, for a prime example, like our IT band, where it gets very linear and very strong and structured to help give our knees and our hips more stability. Now, when we're not using our biomechanics correctly, our posture, which you experience, I
Mhm.
put through everyone a posture check, whether I'm working with them virtually or in person. Because if you're not standing right, then every second of the day, your body has like an earthquake going off inside, and it's your fascia system that's keeping the motion going and then tries to lock down to create the stability in your body. But that lockdown isn't a healthy lockdown. It's called an adhesion, which limits the mobility, which limits the blood supply getting to the surface where we can get beautiful collagen production. And the healthier your fascia is, even the softer your skin gets. It's quite remarkable that you start seeing changes and feeling changes in your body as quick as the first 2, 3 times that you've done it, and certainly 3 weeks into it. So it's hard when we're going through changes in life for
Mhm.
people to really get on board. And I just say, give it 3 weeks. If you've got 3 weeks in you, give it 3 weeks without a second guess. And by then, you will start noticing and experiencing the changes in your body.
Okay, so I have a lot of questions here. So I'm understanding that working on fascia can change a lot of things as far as like our movement, our how we experience pain, also the appearance, like cellulite, sagging. You said bound areas, but circulation and texture. Like you talked to me a lot about how it can change the texture of our skin. I want to understand a little bit more how that works and what we need to be doing to get that activated because in the world of beauty, as we know, there's so many products that are sold and supplements, and we're told drink collagen, put collagen on you. Take how do supplements differ from the actual work, and then what needs to happen in this actual work to make this move the needle and to change things?
Okay. Very, very good question. So, you and I both believe in quality of food, and you and I both have an understanding about inflammation and foods that cause inflammation. And we also both understand, and I'm sure a lot of our listeners, is that gut biome is extremely important for utilizing the nutrients that we take in. So, we're talking about taking in proper hydration. We're talking about taking in nice collagen. We're talking about taking in foods that have got nice amino acids that help our body produce good fibers for muscles and everything like that as we age now. But if we can bypass the gut system and the utilization and the absorption, and we go right to the tissue to bring the nutrients from the deep down into our tissue to the top layers of our tissue, and we didn't have to go through the gut system, we're going to get much better results. Now, our fascia system is made up of two things: water and collagen. So what I do is I help the body produce that at high levels from working on the outside layers of the connective tissue system. And what I do encourage my clients to do is get that cellular hydration, which is much different than
Mm-hmm.
regular hydration, and get the good quality collagen products in your body so it can further help. We have to kind of, as we age, you have to get more diligent, more precise to what your body needs at that stage in the aging process. And so, what I have learned is what I used to do at 50, I'm actually having to do almost double the amount of self care at 60 in order to maintain the same vitality and the beauty that I want to have. Now,
Mm-hmm.
I'm not saying that I want to look like a 21-year-old. I want to look like a naturally beautiful, aging well 61-year-old and 81-year-old,
Mm-hmm.
right? When I get to that point. And so I'm okay about saying I am going to give myself more self-care now than ever, because in the aging process, that's what we need to do.
Yeah.
And so I try to encourage my clients that get frustrated with that, like, let the frustration go, get on board with it. Decide that you and your body deserve it. Now, another thing that I want to mention about fascia, and it's another log in the journals, but that comes some years later. We're in 24 right now, so I think in probably 20, it was logged as our communication system, and it's where we house all of our emotions
Mm-hmm.
because it's the system that houses the nerves. So if you think about it, if the tissue is clogged and tight, it's constricting around all of those nerves. So if we've had a traumatic experience, whether it be physical, tripping in high heels at the corner, car accident, or an emotional one like our dog we had to put down, or something that was really traumatic to yourself,
Sure.
we hold all those in our body, and we hold that in our fascia system. So when we're actually improving the health of our fascia system, we're allowing for these stored traumas and emotions to come through and
Mm.
let our bodies release them. But we also get all of that circulation back into all those nerves, which means it has better ability to communicate to our whole body now because it's not clamped down and restricting the communication, which is also being, like I said, restricting blood supply, all of your circulation, creating more immobility issues, and then harnessing and sticking that inflammation, which causes pain in the body. Now, all of that affects the beauty, the glow, the hydration of your skin, right?
Yeah. Okay. Talk to me about how you've told me like a few little things that I would have never thought of on my own. Like for instance, you said stop wearing leggings every day because you're restricting things. You told me to make sure I'm pinching my skin. What do those things do actually, and why should we be doing both of those things?
Okay, and this would be really good for our listeners to really listen up because these are easy things that they can do in their home every day of their life to help their health of their fascia system, which is going to help their body be even more beautiful. But when we squeeze and we pinch our system, what are we doing? We're bringing blood supply.
Okay.
When we bring blood supply, it brings nourishment to the exterior of our skin. And then when it comes to the exterior skin, it's like grabs like a Pac-Man. It grabs the toxins and flushes it through our lymph system and everything. Another great thing is when we squeeze and we let go, the body naturally does a hydration. It's like when we let go, water flushes to that area. And we love that because our body's supposed to glide, everything's supposed to move so that when we're moving, we've got the mobility to move, right? So the fascia is helping us move and stabilize as we move. Now, if we've got the proper hydration there,
Mm-hmm.
and we've got all of the ability to move, all of that collagen and hydration gets reminded, oh, that's right, I'm supposed to have more hydration in there. It's like that cellular memory,
Right.
right? It's like when we used to go to the go to the gym and we say we have muscle memory when we kind of took a couple of weeks off, right? Go back, takes a couple times, we got that muscle memory and we get it back. Well, the same thing with the body. When we flush the fluids in there, it reminds you, oh, I'm supposed to be hydrated here. I'm supposed to glide all these strands of fibers, supposed to glide and help me as I move. And it's another reminder to the body. Now, I also think that a lot of times in our culture here, we've been taught like, if you've got pain in your body, to let it sit. Don't do
Mhm.
anything with it. I don't have that same understanding for most things, right? I got to be very careful. Like you've got to be careful and responsible for your own body. However, if you've got a little tightness, the more soft and loving little pressure you can do and flushing you can do brings blood supply to that area. And that's what heals our body. You got to get that movement and blood supply there to
Mhm.
heal it.
Now, what's the difference between, and I want to go back to the legging question because I still have that question about legging, but it brought me to another question of what's the difference between massage and then getting into deep fascia?
Okay. So it- all of it helps. So if our listeners can realize, okay, whether they're getting a massage, rolling out, squeezing their body, not wearing tight tights, all of these things are going to help the health of their fascia. Okay. Now, hold it. I lost the question. Not type.
How it's different than a massage.
Oh,
And then
gotcha.
also,
Thank you.
why shouldn't we wear leggings?
Okay. So when we're thinking about our fascia again, remember I told you it's like strands of hair,
Okay.
right? So if we are pushing against it versus combing through it, aren't we going to be better off combing through it than we are pushing against it? If we've got a knot in our hair, pushing against it is not going to do so much.
Right.
Taking a comb and actually combing out those adhesions, which is the only thing cellulite is an adhesion or a scar
Mm.
in our fascia connective tissue. So if I'm combing it out and using methods to comb it, then I'm going to get those knots out and the best blood supply and the best movement, and then the best glowing skin after that.
And where I think people are doing the opposite with cellulite, they're like, there's cellulite, so I'm going to hide it and I'm going to compress it and wear leggings or something tight, right? That's what's so,
Yes.
so you're saying that's the opposite of what you should be doing.
Right. Now let's talk about tights and compression, because compression, there's a space for that. Say you just get done with a great exercise and you've got a lot of pressure in your legs. You want to actually put on stockings or put on something to help that flush through, right?
Mhm.
Or if you're going to be on an airplane flight that you completely swell and you're up in that horrible recycled air, and then you can use those things to help your body create the circulation. On a regular everyday basis, you want loose fitting clothes so that your body can move and circulate. So one of the things about fascia are superficial, we've got deep layers of fascia
Okay.
and we've got superficial. Our deep layers of fascia is what is around all of our muscle strands and what weaves in and out of our organs.
Okay.
The superficial fascia lays in the same line as our lymph fluids. So our lymph fluids is part of our circulation that pulls out all the edema, all the debris, and filters it through, right? So say we've got our superficial fascia and our lymph in the same line, and your lymph fluid is thick, gelatinous, and not filtering very well. It's pressing down on your superficial fascia, which we don't want. We want circulating fascia mobility, right? Eye mobility. Now, say that the fascia has an adhesion. It is pressing down, that scar is pressing down on the lymph fluids. So when we wear tight tights, we're actually telling our body to stop circulating. And then fascia is obedient, whether you wear a tight that's tight at the ankle, tight at the waistline, a belt that's tight at the waistline, anything like that, your body is going to conform to that and tighten down and clamp in those areas. That clamp eventually is going to be stickier and create more adhesion. So we're going to create less mobility, less blood supply, and more adhesions that we're going to have to unadhere in order to keep the mobility moving, the fluids moving, the
Hmm.
nerves connecting, and a cellulite free non-binding area. I mean, I have greatly changed my legs where I was loved my body in clothes. Outside
Mhm.
of clothes, I'd be like, oh, I'm not going to rock a little dress. I'm not going to
Yeah.
rock any
I think a
short
lot of women
shorts
feel that
there.
way in midlife.
Yes.
Yeah.
And now I love walking around and sporting my legs around, at 61,
And
right?
that's because of working on the fascia.
That's because I've restored my fascia and I work on it on a regular base to keep my body moving and my body circulating and my blood supply high and my collagen production high.
So how do you work on what is the proper way to work on it? Because it gets very confusing. Like people see things on Amazon or they like, do they do it themselves? Do they have to have it done? What is like what should be people be doing at home even to get started on something like this?
So it really, there's so many things. Anytime that you are working to roll yourself,
So like a foam roller, meaning.
trampoline work, um, massage your body, anytime that you want to stretch, you're doing things that is going to help your fascia system. You cannot miss the cellular hydration because your body, if your body is dehydrated, is not going to be moving and looking pretty, right? That is a key component to
Yeah.
aging.
So talk to me about okay, so obviously so foam rolling makes sense because do that. And then if somebody's getting a massage, that makes sense. And then if you're doing the pinching yourself and not wearing tight clothes, but what do you mean by cellular hydration and where do we need when do we want to use fascia devices and what makes those different than doing like a foam rolling or a massage?
So with the cellular hydration, there's a difference between something that can actually penetrate and get into your cell
Okay.
versus sitting outside of your cell. A lot of times when we've got what we think is hydration, we have actually have pooling of water, extracellular water, and it's none of it's permeated into that cell. And so
Okay.
that is inflammation causing an edema appearance, right? So it's not appealing to us aesthetically, but it's also pressure on the body. So we need the right kind of minerals or right kind of structured water to bring that into our cells. It's really
Okay.
important.
So
Now,
that's number one. So making sure you're having proper hydration. Is there any like kind of brief tip you could give on that? So because some people don't know what structured water is or minerals. Like, do you have like a general rule of thumb of what they should be drinking?
well, I really like the Quinton products for the people just especially start out before they're actually considering about home products to actually
Okay.
get filtrations in their home and everything. There's a lot of different things, and I think that they could probably connect with you with some of those, right?
Okay. Yeah, so anything, so you're just saying like mineral. So of just of what she's talking about here is I'm a fan of mineral water versus a lot of us in this idea of filtered and purified water, we lose those minerals. So is that what I'm hearing you say correctly that we want to have like proper minerals so you're actually getting the hydration from the water?
Yes,
Is that
thank you for
okay?
that. So I
Okay.
kind of explain it like this. If you don't have the minerals and say we're making a smoothie. We've got
Hmm.
all these beautiful ingredients in the smoothie and we're pushing on, pushing on,
Yeah.
pushing, but we don't plug in that blender,
Yeah.
right? We're never going to get the movement.
That makes sense.
The minerals give us that movement. It
Wow.
gives our body the ability to communicate.
Okay, that makes sense. Okay,
Okay.
got that. Okay,
So
so then when you talk about some of those devices, like you'll see like fascia blasters and things like that, like how much do people need stuff like that versus just doing things themselves? Like, does that stuff make a huge difference to use
I
those
think it
things at
makes
home?
a monumental difference. I am living testament to that. And if you are taking and you have got the optimal choices for things to use on your body to restore it, why wouldn't you use it? Right?
Hmm.
A lot of people would say money. I'm like, okay, well, these are like tools and ideas that are timeless, that you'll have the tools for years, right?
Hmm.
Or that you'll be able to use the methods for the rest of your life, right? Then people might say, time. Yes, it does take time. Whether I'm doing a virtual session with you, whether I'm doing the treatment on you, whether you're going and doing your homework beyond that, it does take time and personal commitment.
Hmm.
There's no doubt about that. But remember, we're talking about finding a system and creating a method that's personalized for you because everyone has a little bit different skin integrity, a little
Okay.
bit different fascia types, and then they've got a little bit of different ability to have mobility, like someone might have carpal tunnel, frozen shoulder. So it's my job to help people create their own method for their skin, for their fascia type, for their mobility, and the time that they want to put in it so
Makes
that
sense.
they can get the maximum results.
Okay. How does gua sha fit into some of this? Is that the same idea when people use like a gua sha stone on their face? Is that doing the same thing, or are we dealing with fascia in our faces that restores things?
We are dealing with fascia all the way, even in our scalp. So when I
Okay.
do my fascia facelift, I'm literally working from the chest plate up to the forehead.
Okay.
And then I even do buccal massage because I'm working the fascia system within the mouth. So the idea is we have got if a fascia once again is strands, aren't we going to be better using methods that can actually unadhere it, that are combing the strands versus a flat, right?
Mm,
Now, once again, I don't want to say to our clients, no, don't use the gua sha. Yes, use the gua sha. It's just not as efficient. Now, one thing I like about the gua sha, though, it's working the lymph. And it's really good to keep our lymph fluids moving. And every time I start working on a client, I do a postural assessment. I open up the 6 major lymph ducts before I do anything. Then
mm.
I work the whole lymph system. And if, say, it's a virtual client, I'm teaching them how to work it like trampoline work, skin brushing work, gua sha work, right?
Okay. Can
Because
you do a little touch on that? Because I think a lot of people don't even know what this is. So like when you say lymph, like you said, the 6 major lymph systems, what is that and how do you open them up?
okay, because we've got major ducts, we've got our lymphs all the way through our whole system, but we've got 6 major ducts. And if those ducts are clogged or congested, they don't filter as well, and they have to filter out all of our debris.
Okay.
So I always teach people about the 6 spots.
And where
And
are
so the
those?
first one is right here at the collarbone,
Okay.
and you pump it 10 times, right? Both sides.
Mm-hmm.
And then right behind your ear, right in the soft spot, 10 times, both sides.
Okay.
Then on your underarm, you like squeeze. I
Okay.
tell my clients even to put their hand here and squeeze under,
Okay.
or you filter this for 10 times. 2 inches above your belly button,
Okay.
right here, and you're doing little tiny circles. And then right at your hip crease.
Okay.
Then right behind your knees, and you're just pumping each 10 times in that route. Here, here,
So should
here,
people do this before they
and
ever dry brush or gua sha or anything?
before they dry brush, gua sha, anything, exercise, they're not feeling well, they want to start their day. I do it every morning. That's part of my rituals of waking up and getting out of bed.
Okay, so start with the lymphatic system, getting
I
that
do.
going. Okay. So if I hear you correctly, like massage and foam rolling and gua sha, all of that is not hurting anything. It's helping to move things and it's
Yes.
definitely working with your lymphatic. But and same with like you're saying good nutrition and hydration is all critical, but you're saying by combing the fascia, this is sort of new technology. If I'm hearing you correct, this is like newly kind of figured out that by combing that, you have seen tremendous results that you actually can not only reverse, prevent, turn around cellulite, but it also can restore where you might be sagging or had circulation issues. Am I saying that correctly?
Yes, 100%.
Okay. How does that fix circulation? Because one of the things I said to Tamara, I call it the old people skin. Like when we get like that, it's like that translucent see-through skin where you get like the purplish shades. Y'all know what I'm talking about here.
Yeah, it's
How do
kind of
we
gummy-ish.
Yeah, like well, you say gummy, but I don't know that I'm connecting to gummy. What do you mean by gummy? And what happens with the color of our skin as we age? And why does it fix through this?
And well, when we've got poor circulation, we get more of that pinky and that more purpley, right?
Okay. Oh, gummy, like you're talking gum like the color of your gums. I thought
Yes.
you meant gummy like a texture. Got
Oh,
it.
got you. And
Okay.
so, yes, and so it doesn't look like a like a natural color.
Right.
That should be on the
And you're
exterior
saying
of
that's
the
from
skin.
poor circulation. That's why, like, if you do like if you get a pedicure and you're rubbing your leg and you're all of a sudden the circulation fixed, but you're saying by doing this, you permanently fix that circulation. Is that correct?
Well, I can't say that you're going to permanently, it depends on your posture. Think about this. If all day long I'm like this,
Okay.
right? Aren't I messing up my whole fascia system because
Yeah,
it's a continuous system?
for
So
sure.
if I'm going to move my body forward 4 steps and then I'm going to stand like this all day, my body
Right.
is going to go retract back, right? So
Okay.
I've got to be responsible for my diet, for my hydration, for my stance, and my breath and my stress control. Because it also, when we stop breathing, we have a lot of stress. We clamp down in our lymph system. We tell our lymph system to stop moving. And remember, lymph, it resides in the same area as superficial fascia, then that will clamp down on the fascia.
Mm. Why? Okay. When you did in your office and I went in, and I'm somebody who loves massage and I foam roll and all that, but when you did the fascia stuff on me, it hurt. Why does it hurt? Does it always have to hurt?
No, it hurts when you don't have healthy fascia. When you've got healthy fascia, it feels
So
dry.
mine will stop hurting the more I'm doing this.
Absolutely. Yeah, the
Okay.
more restored it is, the better it gets. The one thing I want people to really understand too, that we started to touch on that we didn't really further that, is the aging of our skin, okay? And the different fascia types. So if you have got someone that's got really bound fascia, where like you're almost up against something hard,
Mhm.
doesn't feel human-like. It might look good because it's all nice and tight and firm to you, but it doesn't move independently. With fascia, you want it to move independently. So for an
Okay.
example, like if I'm moving right around all of this shirt, you see how like
Right.
the fabric's moving right here?
Right. Right.
But if I was moving that and it was all going like one big piece and not moving right around my finger, that's unhealthy fascia.
Okay.
You don't want things to move in big blocks. You want them to move right around where you've got the skin moving. Versus like you can put this on here and it will move and you'll see these big blocks of tissue moving. That's unhealthy. Now, say you've got bound, so that would be completely bound. The more of that in your body is more bound. That takes longer and more dedication and more frequent work than someone that might be really loosey-goosey, hyper-extended, loose connective tissue and joints. And you almost like push into them and you could dive right in and they kind of
Mhm.
pull fluid a lot in the front. That is poor circulation, but that's loose connective tissue. So you've got to work that well and then let it completely heal because it's already loose. So you don't want to keep breaking it down. You've got to like work it hard and let it heal. Work it hard and let it heal. So you'll actually treat that type of fascia different. You'll
Okay.
extend out your self-care or your appointments with me versus someone that's got more bound.
Makes sense. When
Okay.
you do fat, like if people do fascia at home on themselves, or if they're using a tool, is there, do you use it with oil? Do you use it just on dry skin? Can you use it in the shower? And how do you know how hard you're supposed to be doing with with those tools?
Yeah, it's hard to understand how to talk to people about the pressure.
Okay.
Okay. And I try to come up with words like feathering or light brisk, or you've got some weight to your palm as you're doing the work in this area. And like I said, each person, depending on their fascia type, is going to have a little bit different pressure. Okay.
Mhm.
But the idea is it's always better to go too light than too hard.
Really? Okay. Good to know.
Absolutely. Now, I mean, I have got a little bit of that. I like results, right?
Yeah,
So
me
my
too.
natural way for me is going hard and deal
Yeah.
with the pain, but that's me on my own body.
Yeah.
The idea is that fascia, because we've got the superficial and then we have the deeper layers, it's really nice and loving to the body to go light, brisk, and get that superficial layers healthier before we start working deeper and getting into those deeper layers, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then we think about like the areas that we know that we can push harder because there's lack of a little bit of sensation. So like the outside of our shins, right? Maybe at our glute hammy tie-in. People can normally handle a little bit more on the deltoids than they can between the bicep and tricep
Yeah,
separation. So it's just kind of like learning about that. But that's what's easy for me to coach people along, saying
totally.
an area that's tend to be sensitive.
And
Um,
and then are you supposed to, when you're using tools, use oil all the time? Can you do it on bare skin? Can you do it in the shower?
you can do it any way that's going to keep you consistent. Now, if you want to know the best ways, you should do it on an oiled skin so you're not dragging the skin.
Mm-hmm.
And you should do it heated because fascia is when it's tight, it's always pushing back on you to create that integrity. Okay. When it's soft and gooey, it's much more obedient and responsive to the work that we're doing on it. So a good natural quality oil, because we're roughing up the skin, so we don't want any chemicals, right? When a good
Yeah.
quality oil on our skin. And a lot of people will just do it in their shower where they can soap up. They're already getting the hot
Yeah.
water on them. I'm a girl that I had Beyond Bound is where I started.
Okay.
I was the girl that was rock hard. Those people need more heat. And so I was always heating in my infrared sauna.
Yep.
I was lucky to have that, right? But a lot of people aren't. So I teach people little things like a moist heating pad, which is very different than a regular heating pad, or a hot shower, or going out and getting a run in, or going to a hot yoga
Mm-hmm.
class or Pilates class, and then coming or going through a really intense workout and then putting the oil on their body and doing the work.
Interesting. Okay. And I know when I go to your studio, I go in the sauna there to get it. That's what
Yes.
she starts with what she's saying with the lymph drainage, and then I go in the sauna, and then she does the fascia work on with oil after it's heated.
Yes.
And so that
And
makes
even
sense
when
why you're
we're
doing.
doing, you know, think about this. When we're doing the first lymph part, we're still working fascia. We're just working superficial and getting the fluids moving, right? Then I
Hmm.
put you in the sauna. You're getting a nice natural more detox. So here I've taken off extra water off your body
Right.
using the lymph work. Then I put you in the sauna where we're getting all of your cellular turnover. It's anti-aging. You're getting more regulation for your blood sugar system, and we're detoxifying the skin, which
Makes
always
sense.
makes it more beautiful. And then I put you down where I do the more intense work with the fascia release. And we've created a really nice method to actually get the most optimal results from the body. And everyone,
I find this so fascinating, and the reason I wanted to have you on the podcast, so Tamara had I had heard her talking about this for years, and I kind of ignored it. I mean, just going to be real. I was like, I don't get it, I don't understand it, so I didn't really pay attention to it. And then when I was recently in San Diego is when I went in for a treatment and I was hooked on it. I understand. And also because she showed me before and after pictures. So I think a lot of us learning about this for the first time or listening, we're so used to being told some things that I believed for a long time too. Like one, we can't spot reduce. I also believed like if you have cellulite, it's a genetic thing, you can't change it. So I always thought that. I also thought the only way to fix sagging would be surgery. Like that's literally, I thought these things. So, what is fascinating to me and why I wanted to have her share a lot about this is I'm seeing that that's not necessarily true. Like, there's actually, you can fix sagging and reverse it. You can prevent, you can even turn around cellulite, even if it's a high genetic thing that you thought you had. You can change the way and spot reduce in certain areas through this method. So I'm convinced, and that's why I wanted to make sure you all listening were aware of this option because this is not something that's been really, really heavily talked about. I don't think it has, or maybe I've just missed it and it has been. I didn't
no,
really,
because
because
it's
I
a
feel,
new phenomenon, it's hasn't been out that long. So it's people are still trying to understand, or even hear the word fascia. They
yeah.
always have something to relate or connect to.
But I do think the commitment, it is like anything else. It's like committing to changing your diet or committing to a workout program. Like it's not just a one and done. It's committing to not just trying it, but then going, okay, this is going to be a new habit. Is that accurate?
Lifestyle,
Yeah, it's part of it. So you put this as a high up in your lifestyle along with those other things.
I do.
Yeah. Okay. So Tamara, where can people, because I do, if this is fascinating to you, one, you can go research fascia on your own. There's so much more there. But if you kind of want the shortcut or the quick version or the actual expert assessment, Tamara does work with people, not just in person, but remotely. She does mentorship. She actually sees one-on-one clients out. Where do you want people to find you if they want to learn more, Tamara?
I'd love for them to go to my website because they can learn so much better there and fast there. It's tamararenee.com. That's TAMARARENEE.com.
Amazing. And then what's your Instagram, Tamara, so they can follow you there?
At Fit Fine Fascia.
And she puts a
F-I-
lot of great, helpful videos there. Thank you
Yes.
so much, Tamara. Thank you.
Oh my gosh, Natalie. Thank you. And I look forward to seeing you soon.